Hello everyone, Indie Film Reviews here with you. Streebo Rama, aka Streebo from MutantVille.com. Lifetime OG, that's original geek for you. Fan of all things awesome before they were cool. Whether it's Star Wars, D&D, anime, comics, video games, mixed martial arts. Today we are launching a new endeavor because I just can't be quiet anymore. We're getting close. We're getting close. Star Wars Episode 9 is due in 3 months. I've been doing my best to avoid spoilers on the internet, but it's next to impossible. They're inundating all forms of digital media. Reviewers or speculators out there keep posting their inane plot spoilers, plot leak info, yada yada yada. I don't know. I wish they just wouldn't do it. I'm honestly sick of it. But I have to talk about Episode 9. The reason this video is called The Rise of Apathy is because that's where I find myself as a result of the events of The Last Jedi. If you haven't seen The Last Jedi for whatever reason and you're watching this video, I don't know what to tell you. Apparently you don't understand how the world works. And sometimes I don't either. Let's see if I can get a good shot of that for you. That's my original official Star Wars fan club card right there. Pretty faded. I laminated it after several years of it being abused. But to put it a long story short, I still have very vivid memories of seeing Star Wars in the theater in the Meadowbrook 16 movie theater, Gulfport, Mississippi. I guess the only redeeming quality of living in the South once upon a time was that we had access to great films. For some reason, the South was used as kind of a testing board for films. After Star Wars was released and prior to its subsequent re-releases, we were given the opportunity to see science fiction films in the theater that no one else had a chance to see. The first time I saw Battlestar Galactica was on the big screen. Same theater next door to the one in which I saw Star Wars. The same with Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. The big screen. Now, of course, we know now that those were television projects, mind you. But they were initially released on the big screen, and for some reason in the South they used us to test them. I'm trying not to show too much of that trailer. I don't want my very first video under the Indie Film Reviews heading to get pulled, because I want to talk about this. I want to talk about my apathy. So I can tell you, I was not always apathetic about Star Wars. It's very much part of my life. A big part of my life. I pretty much credit the moment that Luke Skywalker ignites his lightsaber, his father's lightsaber, given to him by Obi-Wan Kenobi. I remember being in the aisles and watching that moment happen and just thinking that I was watching the impossible being made possible, that this was absolute fantasy being made real, and my imagination was just ignited. And because of that, I've been on the journey that I've been on my entire life. The journey of the artist, the journey of the creator, to find new stories to tell and share with people out there. Every generation has a legend. When I watched this first teaser, my thought at the end of it was just disgust. I mean, the title made me mad. The Rise of Skywalker? Really? The Rise of Skywalker? You just spend the previous 2 movies essentially tarnishing the legacy of the original trilogy of Star Wars films. Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. And now you're going to tell us, you're going to give us what fans want with The Rise of Skywalker, after the character Luke Skywalker is dead, the character everyone wants to see. If you go on Google and you search for Star Wars, you can do relevant searches to see how many results you get, and you can look for the number of searches that come up. And Luke Skywalker is there at the top. He's at the top of all of them. So how can you take the character that everybody wants to see and treat it so poorly, and then tell us you're going to give us what we want in the next film? Now, one of the tenets of indie film reviews is that we are the crusaders of the art jihad. We're fighting the forces of fandom. Fandom is represented in a lot of different ways. In one way, the human haterpede, which has been manifest for many years, and has become more and more powerful through the rise of social media, because people can easily just lash out and spread their hate everywhere. And that's something I'm not down with. I don't think we need to attack actors for a part they played in a film. We don't need to attack, hopefully we don't need to attack, creative individuals involved. If anything, we're going to have a discussion of the creative merits, strengths, and weaknesses, as driven by the primary creative force behind any given project. That's going to always be the focus of indie film reviews. When it comes to films, that's usually the director. I mean, you have to lay it on the director. It comes from the director. And with Star Wars The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson was the initial writer and the director. And according to the information that's come out since, the story for The Last Jedi was developed before The Force Awakens. So J.J. Abrams had to link up to The Last Jedi, essentially agree not to use Luke, essentially agree to kill off Han Solo. It's just so depressing to even think about it. Now I'm watching this thing and I'm like, I'm supposed to get excited because Rey is doing a backflip. I mean, why is this TIE fighter just flying right at her? Why is it not blasting her to a million shards, with with its shipborne guns, which will blow holes in the side of starfaring ships, I'm supposed to get excited over that? No, I just don't see it. I don't see it. I'm fighting the apathy right now. I just don't care. And I'm insulted by the title, The Rise of Skywalker. My initial thoughts coming out of The Last Jedi was, I thought, well, this is a well-made film. Because of that, I have to rate it high. And if you go back and listen to our podcast episode on MVP Mutant Radio, you can see I rated it really high. I did not give it a 10, and I complained about the Luke stuff then. But that was my initial review. And as I sat and thought about the film in subsequent weeks and months, I realized that I have a love-hate relationship with it, that I hate most of it. And I love just a couple parts of it. But so far, what I've seen in these Star Wars Episode 9 trailers has not sold me on going to see the film. For the first time ever, I do not care about seeing a Star Wars film. For the first time ever. We try to go into more depth into why I think the films are being poorly guided now. They've lost that samurai aesthetic, which is something that the new Lucasfilm creative team does not understand in the slightest. But we'll save that for another video. In the meantime, this is Streebo, Indie Film Reviews. If you don't believe I'm an indie filmmaker, you can go buy a copy of Tales from Mutantville off of Amazon.com right now and check out my work for yourself. But The Rise of Skywalker or The Rise of Apathy? You decide. We'll see you next time.